What if the internet suddenly shut down forever? The internet is a huge part of our lives these days. It's something we use every single day to get work done, play games, or just pass the time. But what if one day you turned on your computer, opened up your browser, and got this message? The connection has timed out. This is a scary thought that many of us have had at some point in our lives. What would happen if the internet just shut down forever? In today's video, we're going to explore exactly that. But before we do that, it's important to remember that there are no coincidences here on YouTube. You were brought here for a reason. So, with that said, make sure to show your support. And, without further ado, let's begin. So, first off, what would actually cause the internet to shut down? One of the most obvious answers to this question is World War III. Now, it's not likely that any country would try to take down the internet on purpose, since it would also affect them as well. But during wartime, there's always the risk of infrastructure being destroyed by missiles or bombs, which could lead to the internet shutting down. Another possibility is that a large solar flare could damage satellites and disrupt communications, leading to an internet blackout. A solar flare is an intense eruption of electromagnetic radiation from the sun. It's like a massive explosion on the surface of the sun, and when these occur, they can send high-energy plasma towards Earth. If a solar flare were to hit Earth at the right angle, it could damage satellites in low Earth orbit, which are vital for communication and GPS. A single powerful solar storm can disrupt telecommunications around the world. The last major geomagnetic storm was in 1859, known as the Carrington event. It was a solar superstorm that caused widespread disruption to telegraph systems across the world. If something similar were to happen today, it could cause the internet to go down for an extended period of time. Another possible cause of the internet going down is a cyber attack. There are people who believe that the internet could be taken down by a virus or malware that gets into the right computers. The chances of this happening are very slim. For a virus to take down the entire internet, it would have to be incredibly sophisticated and able to target every single device connected to the network. However, it's not entirely impossible. Take, for example, the Stuxnet computer worm, which was developed by the United States and Israel in 2010. It was designed to sabotage Iran's nuclear program by attacking the country's nuclear facilities. And it's believed that the worm caused significant damage to Iran's nuclear infrastructure. If something like this were to happen on a larger scale and target all of the servers and routers that make up the internet, it's possible that it could take down the entire thing. Next, another possible cause of the internet going down is a simple bug. Believe it or not, a single line of code written incorrectly could potentially take down the internet. It's hard to believe, but it's true. The DNS system, which is responsible for translating domain names into IP addresses, is extremely complex, and there are a lot of people working on it. In fact, there are over 1 million registered domains in the world, and all of these domains need to be translated into IP addresses so that people can access them. If there was a bug in the DNS system, it could cause the entire internet to collapse. For example, in 2008, there was a bug in the root zone DNS server that almost took down the entire internet. The bug was caused by a misconfiguration of the DNS server, and it could have allowed attackers to redirect users to fake websites. Luckily, the bug was discovered and fixed before it could cause any major problems. Another possible cause of the internet going down is a power outage. The internet is a decentralized system, but there are a lot of devices that need to be running in order for it to function properly. If there was a widespread power outage, it could cause many of these devices to go offline, leading to the internet shutting down. For example, in 2008, a power outage in Virginia knocked Amazon's main server farm offline, which caused many popular websites to go down, including Netflix and Reddit. The outage lasted for about an hour, and it affected millions of users. It's a good reminder that even though the internet is decentralized, it still relies on a lot of different systems and infrastructure to function properly. And finally, Another possible cause of the internet going down is natural disasters. Hurricanes, earthquakes, and other natural disasters can cause widespread damage to infrastructure, including internet infrastructure. When Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast in 2005, it caused major damage to the region's internet infrastructure, which disrupted communications and services for thousands of people. Now you might be thinking, okay, what if the internet did shut down? What then? What would happen next? Well, let's explore that in more detail. First off, chaos would immediately ensue. People would be unable to access their favorite websites and social media platforms, leading to mass confusion and panic. Businesses would be unable to operate since many of them rely on the internet to function. The stock market would likely crash since trading would come to a halt. In fact, the Dow Jones Industrial Average would probably plummet by several thousand points. Communication would be disrupted since the internet is the primary way that people communicate these days. Families and friends would be unable to reach each other, leading to mass hysteria. Travel would be thrown into chaos since many of the systems that control air traffic and transportation rely on the internet. Airports would be shut down and planes would be grounded. The GPS system would stop working, leading to widespread confusion and disorientation. People would be unable to navigate roads or even find their way home. Panic buying would likely ensue since people would be unable to access their bank accounts or make purchases online. Grocery stores would be emptied out within hours as people stockpiled food and supplies. After the initial chaos, people would start to panic. They would realize that they wouldn't be able to access their bank accounts or withdraw cash, leading to widespread financial panic. People would start to hoard cash, leading to a shortage of currency. The government would likely declare a state of emergency and martial law would be imposed. Curfews and other restrictions would be put in place as the government tried to restore order. The military would be called in to help maintain order and protect critical infrastructure. The government would set up checkpoints and roadblocks to prevent people from hoarding food and other supplies. People would be limited to withdrawing a certain amount of cash from their bank accounts each day. The government would ration food and other supplies to prevent panic buying. The government would likely try to restore the internet as quickly as possible since it's essential for modern society to function. However, it may take weeks or even months to restore the internet, especially if the cause of the outage is unknown. In the meantime, people would be forced to rely on old-fashioned methods of communication such as landline phones, newspapers, and radio. During this time, people would likely start to forget how to socialize in person. They would become used to communicating through the internet and social media. Many people would likely become depressed and anxious since they would no longer have access to their favorite websites and social media platforms. Some people might even attempt to flee the country since they would no longer be able to communicate with their family and friends. Others might see this as an opportunity to start over fresh in a new country. Whatever people decide to do, it's safe to say that the internet outage would have a profound impact on society. It would force people to become more self-sufficient and rely on each other. It would also give people a new appreciation for the things that really matter in life. However, it's important to remember that this is just a hypothetical scenario. The internet is incredibly resilient, and there are many safeguards in place to prevent it from ever happening. Nevertheless, it's still a good idea to be prepared for any eventuality. So make sure to stay informed and be ready to adapt to any situation. With that said, it's now time to hear from you. What do you think would happen if the internet shut down forever? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to show your support. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.